someday has arrived. That phrase naturally came to me a few weeks ago. Now, I'm not the first person to say it, and I won't be the last, but at least for me in my life, that phrase, in the context of where I'm at, had such a profound significance that my mind was like, damn. And just this wave of gratitude, humility, thankfulness just came over me. Because I can say with full confidence that I have made more progress in the last 6 months compared to the last 6 or more years towards living the lifestyle I've always wanted. Because I would always tell myself, someday I'll be fit, someday I'll be healthier, someday I'll be wealthier, someday. Yeah, well, guess what? Someday never came. Someday became just, a goal written on a Google Doc that's years old, collecting digital dust. But there's a lot that I want to talk about and share about this journey that I'm on right now. But I'm going to keep today's video a little bit more brief to just really focus on where I'm at, where I'm going, a little bit about how I got here, and hopefully it resonates with people who are out there also looking for the same kind of questions in life of, well, I want to change my life. Where do I begin? And for me, ever since college, I was exposed to books that have to do with wealth, and a lot of books on wealth kind of lead to books on self-development, self-improvement, motivation, etc., etc., etc. And so I was really familiar with like Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Dale Carnegie, and a bunch of other people who are well known for being in that space. And so I've always kind of been exposed to it, but I never took action on it, nor did I know how to take action on it, because I was living in such a comfort zone that it was really not a comfort bubble. It was a comfort dungeon. My sleep was terrible. My eating was terrible. Exercise was non-existent. I was living at home with my mom and dad, and that's just, I've been with them on and off for all of my life. The only times when I didn't live with them was when I had roommates in high school, because I went to a boarding academy, when I had roommates in college, and when I had housemates when I moved into an apartment or lived in a house with other people in college. But I was never allowed to just, not allowed, I wouldn't say, but I was never just in a place that was truly my own, where I could live and really express myself in a way that felt authentic and true to me without the feelings of being judged by others or having to worry about, what people might think about me. Because that is such a terrible way to live your life. And I'll probably touch on that more in another video, of just stop caring about what other people might think about you. Because guess what? They don't. We all live our own life, and we're all focused on ourselves. So if you're worried about, what this random person over here, or what your boss or your friend or your family member, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever might think about you for doing something, really ask yourself, like, well, I mean, unless it's truly somebody that you love and care about, then yeah, sure, their opinion will probably matter. And you should have people like that in your life who are supportive and who you do value their opinion on you. But you also got to be mindful if that's a toxic person and they're just putting their own insecurity and projections onto you to limit you, which could be a whole other video for another time. But anyways, like I was saying, I was living in a comfort dungeon, and I had no motivation to change. I had no discipline that showed results. I had no true sense of direction of where I really wanted to go. I always knew of things that I wanted in my life, of how I imagined I would look, but it wasn't concrete. It wasn't something that I could truly visualize and say, that is where I'm going. No, because it was always a someday. And you don't put a lot of effort into a someday thing because until it actually does come true, it's just a someday thing. It's out there, nowhere. And so that was my life. And I was very reactive in the sense that, oh, well, I'm in this circumstance, I'm in this situation because of XYZ. I can't do that because of, ABC. Oh, don't worry, you big baby. Yeah, he's hungry, he's ready to go. I'm hungry too. But this is important, Arlo. And so, what? You're a good boy. Be a good boy. The sun feels good. Anyways, I was very reactive and I had no sense of urgency. I had no sense of control over myself and my actions. And it wasn't until a few years ago, there's two books that I came across that were kind of like, this is it, like your life is reaching a breaking point that you need to either act or accept the fact that you're just going to be a fat loser who is addicted to eating, addicted to video games, addicted to porn, addicted to, drinking, wasting money, things that are leading you in the exact opposite direction and to a quicker death. And those two books were Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and the other book, I'm forgetting the name of the author. I'll link it in the description, but it's called the Art of Extraordinary Self-Confidence. And those were the two books that really pushed me to be like, damn, I'm really living a life of just spiraling. I need a change. So about a year ago exactly was where that action began to take place. And the first step was I need to move out to my own apartment so that I could really start fixing myself. I need my own place. And like I said, I was living with my mom and dad. I love them. I'm very grateful for them. So they supported me a lot. But to be a 30-year-old man living with mom and dad, you don't want to do that. Not unless you want to change more things for your life and want more for yourself and for the lifestyle that you want. And I get it. It's expensive. I live in Southern California. It's expensive. But you know what? What's the price of your freedom? What's the price of your peace of mind? You know, what are you willing to do to be able to change your life? How uncomfortable are you willing to get until you start taking action? And for me, that was a breaking point. And so when I told my mom and dad that, yes, I went to go tour an apartment and I'm putting in the application for it today, they were surprised, but they were also, I could tell that they were proud of me. They were grateful. And I'm very thankful that they've been supportive of me for that. And yeah, I went through the process. And at the end of July 2024, I signed the lease and I got the keys to my current one-bedroom apartment. And it's been amazing because it's been my own abode. It is not a comfort dungeon, no. Instead, I see it more as my training arena, as my den, my cave. Because in my bedroom, I have blackout curtains because it helps me sleep more peaceful at night. But the rest of the apartment, it's much more brighter because I like the light from the sun and outside and the fresh air. So anyways, I had to get my own place so that I could begin to start developing myself to be able to live the life that I've always wanted to live. And of course, I'm not there at this exact moment, but I know I'm getting there. At the start of the new year, I was close to 260 pounds. I was eating pizza left and right, eating fast food, eating late at night, not caring about exercise, not really caring about my sleep, telling myself, it's okay, whatever, it's just today, YOLO, whatever, tomorrow we'll eat healthier. Tomorrow never came. It was always the same thing. And so now that I'm in my own place, not only does that push me out of the comfort of living with mom and dad, but it also pushed me into financial discomfort. All the money that I would have to waste on food, on drinks, on going out, whatever, well, guess what? That's gone. Now my money has to go to rent. My money has to go to utilities. My money has to go to groceries. which I've always loved to cook. I've always enjoyed it. But now my cooking is so much more simplified and it's so delicious. I love it. I'm mostly eating vegetables, eggs, and meat. That's essentially my diet right now. And like I said, at the start of the new year, I was pushing 260 pounds and probably pushing around 36, 37% body fat percentage. Today, at the end of March 2025, I weigh around 235, give or take with water fluctuations. And I've kept that weight off. And my body fat percentage has dropped down to 31%. And just saying it and speaking it, I'm just so grateful and glad because nothing was going to change in my life until I began to change. And so, really pushing myself into my discomfort zone and building a new comfort zone where I could focus on my training, on my diet, on my sleep, is what's allowed me to reach the point that I'm at now. And so these videos that I'm going to be putting out every Friday, it's meant to find people who are in that same area, who want to change their life. And I'll say this again and again and again because I want the people who find this content for it to be resonating with them, for it to be relevant to them. Whether you believe in God, Allah, the universe, whatever, like at the end of the day, we all have the agency within ourselves to be able to push change in our life. And me, I believe in God. And it's very easy for believers to say, God's got me. God's got a plan for me. Okay, well, is God's plan for you getting Taco Bell at 1 in the morning? Is God's plan for you, drinking a bottle of rum over a weekend? Is God's plan for you, playing 8 hours of video games, watching porn, watching movies, staying up late, having a terrible sleep schedule? I don't think that's God's plan for me. It sure as hell wasn't, because like I said, I was spiraling to an earlier grave. And I knew it was going to lead that way. And so it just finally had to happen for me to ask myself this important question. And I forgot where I heard it. I think it was in the book, The Art of Extraordinary Self-Confidence, where the author asks the question, what was the happiest day in your life? And why haven't you had that again? Like, why is looking back at this time in your life period the happiest day of your life? And why haven't you had it again? It's such a simple question. But when you really take time to think about it and answer it, it's like, damn, I've let external circumstances dictate the life that I'm living. I've let myself be a victim of others in my own mind and rationalize it to be able to justify why my life isn't where it's at. And that's why we're stuck in the dungeon of comfort. So being able to ask myself that question and having the knowledge that I gained from some of the books that I was reading, like I mentioned earlier, The Art of Extraordinary Self-Confidence and Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, those books gave me action plans to start working on. And I knew pretty quickly that once I moved into my own apartment, there were 3 pillars that I had to fix. Hey, I know, you're ready to go. Hold on. There were 3 pillars that I really had to fix: sleeping, eating, and exercising. Hey, hang on, buddy. Hang on. I know. I'm talking to the camera. Yeah, those 3 were the most important for me to fix. And in that order: sleep, diet, and exercise. Because since college, I would stay up until 1, 2, 3 in the morning, wasting time, not studying, I guarantee you that. And that was just kind of my habit because I was so used to it that even when I finished my master's program in 2017, I would still stay up late and I would still have to go to work the next day where I was working at the time. Wake up by 7 a.m., quickly just throw water on my face, smell my shirt, make sure it doesn't smell bad, and just go to work. And that was my life. My work performances, they were subpar, barely at the bare minimum, that I ended up resigning because I knew I was going to get fired if I continued on the way that I was going. And so, yeah, it's funny to say it out loud, but that was the truth of it. I resigned from that job because I knew I was going to get fired if I continued on the way that I was going. and that was after being there for a year. The job that I'm at now, I've had it since 2018, but it's a pretty unique job because I have every Friday off. I work with nonprofit religious organizations, and so this job has given me the peace of mind outside of work to really focus on myself. And it wasn't until the last few years that I really realized it and how to take advantage of it for myself, for my benefit. And so I'm very thankful, I'm very grateful, and I plan to keep this job until, well, I'm able to generate enough income from other projects that I have to where I can early retire and just live and work for myself, and which is why I have a YouTube channel also, because that's part of that plan. So fixing my sleep was the first most important thing for me. I'll tell you right now, I'm usually in bed between 8 and 9 p.m. and I'm usually waking up between 4:30, 5:30 in the morning. And I feel great. I feel energized. I don't feel groggy. Like as soon as I wake up, roll out of bed easily. I set my alarms to 5:30. Rarely do I ever wake up to my alarm because I'm waking up before it. And I feel great and I feel ready to go. And I take him out on walks every morning and every evening before I go to bed and after I wake up. So that way he gets his little walkies in the morning, and then we always come to the park, and usually later in the morning to be able to do our exercise. And we finished doing that today here, finished doing 3 miles. We're going to bump it up to 5 miles and incorporate more running as we continue going forward. And I'll probably make some videos about that, what our running and what our walking here at the park looks like. But I don't like walking with my phone on me. I leave it in my car. I just try to disconnect from my phone as much as I can, because we can go into a whole other topic about it, of just why it's good to just disconnect and monitor and reset your dopamine levels, which I'll probably talk to more in another video, just not this one. There's a lot that I have to say about what I'm doing to change my life, and I'm going to continue getting to expand more and more on that as I'm able to get better at these videos. But yeah, getting back to the 3 things I had to fix: sleep. Because I fixed my sleep, guess what? That made it easier to start fixing my diet. And I mentioned earlier that I'm spending a lot of my money on groceries. Or, well, not a lot of my money, but the money that I can spend on food, I'm spending it on groceries because I'm doing a lot of cooking, and I love to cook. And yeah, like I said, most of my diet is eggs, vegetables, and meat. And it's delicious. I love it. I'll make rice, I'll make beans every now and then too. I'll do some pasta here and there, but to the degree that I was eating that kind of way before, much lower amount of carbs I'm eating also. And that's helped also with just some of the weight loss. And I'm going to continue it going. And because my diet is so much cleaner, my sleep is so much better, it was only natural for me to start incorporating more and more exercise. And you know what? I'm actually glad that I've had issues with recording this video today, because I completely forgot to mention this. I set up a power rack in my apartment so that I could do squats, I can do bench press, I can do deadlifting, and some other exercises in there, because I've been wanting to do that in my own place. And I have a treadmill also. So I have my own little home gym at my apartment. And so I cannot do a single pull-up. I built this power rack a couple weeks ago. That's when I ordered it, and it arrived. And whenever I tried to do a pull-up, I couldn't even barely nudge myself off the ground. I had to tippy toe, and even then I could barely do anything because I was just that much out of shape. Well, I kept on trying it a little bit every day. It kept on hurting. My back was feeling really sore. My upper arms and chest and shoulders feeling really sore. But I'm determined to be able to do pull-ups, and I cannot wait until the point where I can do dozens of pull-ups and more. And this morning, before we left here to the park, I'd taken a break over the last few days because I really hurt my hand, like a tendon or something, I don't know. But it really hurt to make a fist. And so I was taking it easy the last few days. This morning, I went and I was able to hold myself up for 2 seconds. And man, just saying it again, it's evidence that my life is changing. Because I never thought that I would want to be able to do a pull-up so badly. And I cannot wait to the point where I could have videos where I'm actually doing my pull-ups. And because I'm also recording some videos just to show you where I'm at now, but I wanted to have them kind of like comparisons to show you where I started and where I'm at, because that's my way of tracking progress for myself. And I can't wait to start growing that more. So for me, asking myself the right question: when was I the happiest in my life, and why haven't I been able to have that again? I needed to get out of my comfort dungeon and make my own arena, my training abode, cave, so that I could focus on myself. And because I was able to do that and start focusing on myself, I was able to realize the 3 pillars I needed to fix: sleep, diet, and exercise. And I'm really excited to continue this journey and sharing with you about what I'm doing and where I'm going. I have a lot of projects in mind that I want to continue working on, and I'm going to continue doing it. And I want to continue doing these specific videos that are just long form, me speaking to the camera every Friday. Because like I said earlier, I want these videos to find the people who are looking for it. And it makes a big difference when you find somebody who is relatable in your journey, to hear what they're going through and what they're doing. Because that's what I do also. Like when I'm at home and I'm playing video games, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to other YouTube channels, I'm listening to books of people who have changed their life. Because if I'm going to be doing something like playing video games, I might as well do something productive while I'm at it. And so it feels amazing to be able to start seeing the change and the action happening in my life. So we'll finish it there. I'm really hungry, and I'm going to put out another video on Friday, next Friday, and keep on doing that. And like I said, I want this content to find the people who are looking for it, who resonate with it. And if you've watched this video and you started it and you're here at the end, I'm really thankful, and I really appreciate it for your time. And if you have questions that you're asking yourself, and feel free to ask me. Hey buddy, I know we're about to go. Feel free to ask me, and I'd be happy to answer them. And this is gonna be on YouTube. No hashtags, no clickbait, nothing, because these videos not only are my way of telling my life, but it's also going to be more relevant to the people who find it and listen to it and can relate to it. And hopefully you start asking the right questions in your life too, to start changing it. After all, someday has arrived. Come on, Arlo, let's go.